Hey guys, it's Allie, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to realistically pack and travel with the doll. Now, I've made several of these videos in the past, including one that for some reason did extremely well for my channel, like from 5 years ago or something. I guess packing videos are really popular, maybe this one will do well, who knows. But back when that initial video was posted, I definitely packed more so for play or like the possibility of play. A lot of the times I'd actually overpack all these accessories that I never really ended up using for my dolls. And with everything that's been going on in the world for the past few years, I really have not traveled with my dolls in a long time. The last trip was 2019, I believe, and I filmed it, posted it on my channel. Travel vlogs never really do well, but I just personally enjoy looking back at them. So even though I went away for a few nights with some friends a few weeks ago, I am finally going to travel again on an airplane and bring a doll with me because I may or may not be meeting up with an AGJitter slash AGTuber that many of you guys probably know. So guess in the comments who you think I'm meeting up with. So this video is not necessarily going to be talking about how to pack for play or like your doll needs to bring their suitcase. It's not really gonna be like that. This is just what I personally do as an adult collector who is taking a doll more so just to take photos than actually playing with a doll. I have some tips for packing, and then also once you get to your destination or getting to your destination, how to travel with your doll and my best tips for that. So without further ado, let's get started. Of course, before you go away on vacation, you have to pack for your doll. So this all depends on your mode of transport. If you are taking a road trip, you can take kind of as many bags as you want, and you will probably have more room to spread out. So if I'm going on a road trip, I would probably bring 2 dolls compared to just 1 because you have more room. Since on this trip, I'm going to be flying, I'm only packing 1 doll. Taking 1 doll even on a plane is quite a hassle just because you have way less room, especially if you're like me and you like to fly all carry-on. But as long as you have a big backpack, you can make it work. When it comes to picking what doll you want to take with you on your trip, definitely pick a doll whose hair is very easy to manage. So not a doll that requires a lot of care and a lot of products and can easily get messed up by sitting in a bag all day. And I also like to style, more so for the travel days, my doll's hair in a way that will not get it tangled, such as doing braids. Make sure that your doll is wearing shoes, especially on the travel day, that will not fall off. I remember when I was little, I played with Barbies and I would take them in the car on road trips all the time, and we always put our Barbies in their big chunky boots because they would never fall off compared to high heels. So even though from my experience American Girl doll shoes don't fall off as easily, make sure that their shoes don't fall off. You do not want to be missing a doll shoe somewhere on the airplane. Also, be sure to put your doll in an outfit that covers their skin for scratches. So if you're going on an airplane and you're putting your doll in the backpack with a bunch of your other items, you don't want something scratching your doll. So putting them in full-length pants and maybe a jacket is definitely the way to go. I also saw this tip years ago, I think back when I watched AG Overseas Fan, and a lot of the times I will pack my doll headfirst in a sleeping bag when I'm traveling with them, which sounds very scary. It sounds like I'm kidnapping a doll. I swear I'm not. It's just once again to protect them from scratches. Now this tip is mainly just for myself, but don't overpack. I am definitely an overpacker for myself and my dolls. Now if you are coming into the trip, probably as an older collector, how realistic is it for you to change your doll's outfit every single day, put them into PJs every single night? Probably not realistic, especially if it's the type of vacation where you are doing something new every day and go, go, go with not a lot of downtime. Now when I was younger, I definitely put my dolls into PJs every night and would change their outfit every day. But now that I'm older, I will keep my dolls in the same outfit for months on end, which is really sad. Even on vacation, I'm not necessarily taking my doll everywhere I go and taking photos of my doll every single day. So depending on how many days you're away for or how many days you plan on taking your doll with you, bring tops and bottoms that you can mix and match. So for this trip, I'm going away for over a week, but I don't plan on taking my doll everywhere I go. So instead of bringing in outfit for every single day, I'll probably take 3 tops and 3 bottoms so I can mix and match those, as well as a dress just to have another outfit option. This may change. Do not hold me accountable to what is in this video as I'm doing this voiceover. You can also pack pajamas if you want to do some cute hotel room photos or something like that. I'm still debating if I'm going to take PJs with me on this trip because sometimes it is fun, even as an adult, to just put your doll in pajamas, but it probably will just take up space in my luggage and I probably will not use it for photos or anything, so keep you posted on that. Feel free to bring a few props with you for photos, such as your doll's camera, phone, food, but once again, do not overpack and ask yourself if you will actually use the prop. I know with the AGJitter who I'm meeting up with, it might be a rainy day, so we might end up taking rainy day doll photos, so I might be packing an American Girl umbrella with me to use in a photo. But do you really need to bring food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for your doll if you are just mainly there to take photos? No, my younger self did that. Make sure that you bring hair supplies for your dolls so you can style it for photos and just keep it in good condition, such as a doll brush, hair ties, and even a hair accessory or two. Don't bring tiny items with you such as rings or earrings that can easily get lost. If your doll does have their ears pierced, then just take one pair of earrings and leave it in the whole time and make sure that your doll is not suddenly missing an earring. Another thing I like to take with me when I travel is some emergency items such as micro mesh for if you're taking doll photos and your doll suddenly face plants and you have to fix it. It doesn't take up a lot of room in your luggage, and even though I have not had a trip where I have needed to use it yet, you just never know. It's also smart to keep a list of what you brought, both for you and your doll, so you don't lose anything when you're away, such as a tiny doll ring, even though I said do not bring rings, you do not need that getting lost, or a certain prop. Here is the part where future me shows you what I brought for my doll if you are just curious. Now we are going to talk about some general tips for the traveling portion. So you've packed for your dolls, now we're gonna travel. Also, if you are wondering how I do store all of my doll accessories I bring with me, no, I do not take doll luggage anymore, though it would make for some cute photos. It just takes up space and it can't even hold that much. Your best friend are just Ziploc baggies. If you have a reusable pouch, that would be even better. So I like to keep all of my doll clothing in a big bag, and then I'll have a smaller one for all of my little accessories or hair accessories and things like that. As for traveling, so if I'm going on a road trip with my dolls, I will be honest, I like to keep my dolls next to me because I don't really want them sitting in a stuffed backpack for longer than they have to. But of course, if you don't have room, keep them in your backpack. Giant tote bags are also your best friend if you are going around the city and taking photos of dolls, or even on a road trip, because then your dolls won't necessarily be squished in with your other belongings. You can still see them, but they won't be squished. I kind of said that. I don't like squishing my dolls. If you're going on an airplane, you have less room, so I normally stuff my doll headfirst in a sleeping bag and put her in my backpack. I'm way too scared to check my luggage, especially if there's a doll in there, so my doll always stays carry-on with me, and the doll stuff usually stays carry-on as well. When it comes to actually packing your doll in your backpack, suitcase, whatever, though I strongly do recommend keeping your doll in your personal item just because it's on you the whole time, it's not gonna get thrown around or anything, is to use the doll clothing bag as a cushion to kind of protect your doll from everything else that is in your backpack. For example, I plan on placing my camera in my backpack, which is definitely a very heavy item. I do not want that scratching my doll's face. If I use the plush clothing bag as a barrier between those harder items and the doll, it helps to protect the doll. I will say though, if you are traveling with a doll, especially on an airplane, your doll will probably take up a lot of space in the backpack, so definitely make sure you get those vacation pictures with the doll to make it worth it. The bigger the backpack you can get, the better. As soon as I get to my destination or my hotel, I will immediately take out my doll from my bag so the limbs do not get more squished than they need to be if my doll is stored in a seated position. And then because I normally bring a sleeping bag, more so for protection for my doll, I will also lay it out in what I will call the dedicated doll area, just so my doll has quote unquote a place to sleep, but also, you know, is not just lying on a dusty counter or something. A lot of hotels will often have a little drawer unit, so I like to pick one drawer to store my doll and my doll supplies. So I will just keep all of the plastic bags full of clothing and accessories in there, and then lay out the sleeping bag and the doll if the doll will fit in the drawer. It's also great for if you're at a hotel and you don't really want the maids to see that you are an adult with a doll, if you are embarrassed like I am. Now, if I'm being completely realistic, I do not take my doll everywhere I go when I'm going on vacation, because keeping a doll in a backpack is really heavy, especially with a camera. So if I am going somewhere and I know I'm gonna want to take doll photos there, then I will bring my backpack or even a tote bag. Also, keep in mind, keeping out a doll when it's really hot weather in a car for a long time or even in a backpack can make their vinyl squishy. So if it's a really hot day, maybe skip the doll for that day and just keep her in a nice air-conditioned room. I also wanted to touch on some tips that I had for those dolls who you are not taking with you for your vacation, who are just sitting at home, especially if you are gone for a while. Make sure that their hair is not in a hairstyle that will kind of become permanent, such as braids. So I like to take my doll's hair down and maybe do some recurling so it's in good condition when you get back from your trip. But if, let's say, you're going away for a month and you keep your doll's hair in braids, there might be a bit of a crimp. It shouldn't be a big deal if you're watching this, you're already away and you're like, oh no, I kept my doll's hair in braids. But if you do leave them in for a really long time, it will become a bit more permanent. Also, on a similar note, make sure that your dolls are wearing clothing that will not stain them, because they will be in those outfits for a while. Maybe they even were wearing them prior for several months because you're like me and you never get around to changing your doll's clothing. Make sure that they are in lighter colors and just fabrics that you know will not stain them. You want to keep your dolls in a flat position, so you don't want them to be in a seated position because that will ruin the elastics over time. And I prefer keeping my dolls upright, like on a shelf, because that way they will not get all covered in dust. So you can use a shelf, you can store them in a big storage bin. I used to keep my dolls just lying down in the dollhouse, but they do accumulate dust all over their faces if you do that, so keeping them standing and upright is the best solution. If you're worried about your dolls falling over, do invest in something like a big tote bin or even shelves. I have the Billy shelves from IKEA, which I use to store my dolls, and it kind of acts like a dust shield. Also, if you're traveling during the summer and it gets really hot where you live, you want to make sure that your dolls don't overheat because the vinyl will get squishy and it could mess them up. So keep them in an area that doesn't really get direct sunlight. Shut your blinds. Obviously, don't run an air conditioner. That is just a waste of electricity. And if you have a basement, it's usually cooler in the basement than it would be in an upper level of your house, apartment, whatever. So it's a good idea to move your dolls there and keep them cool. I think those are all of my general tips, but please have fun if you are going away with your dolls this summer, and make sure to have fun documenting those pictures with your dolls. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are going away with your doll this summer, comment down below where you're going. I'm very curious now that travel is starting to be up and running again. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to see those travel vlogs when they are posted, and for more American Girl doll videos, of course. And have an amazing day, and I will see you soon. Bye!